Alright, welcome back again. This is Katarian Lightning, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up on my previous topic, which was the Christ is King controversy. So, of course, there we showed that there was a bunch of people who hopped on Candace Owens' split from the Daily Wire, and I speculated then that it was people who were trying to go and force a split between conservative Christianity and conservative Judaism in the US, and since then we've basically received a confirmation that this is exactly what has been happening. Alright, so I'm going to go show you how they're trying to go and do this. Again, whether or not they're going to be successful in doing this is entirely other matter. But here we have Censored Men, and as I've pointed out before, this is one of those guys that puts out a bunch of rumors. This is a propagandist, and this person's propaganda gets immediately hopped on by a lot of different larger channels and then used for their own purposes, their own propagandistic purposes. So here, Censored Men claims, bombshell leak. Candace Owens was fired for saying Christ is King. So right there, you'll notice that there is an attempt to go and say, oh, the Daily Wire is now going and persecuting Christians. The conservative Jews in the US are now persecuting Christians. This is why you should go and separate from them and their interests. Of course, this all is taking place at the same time when the geopolitics of the people who these sorts of people work for, they want to go and separate the West from Israel and to go and deny Israel all of the aid. And then by doing that, they can then go and probably start a war against it, is what they're ultimately planning on, I think. All right. 4 Daily Wire employees, all Christians, have approached me. Their identities will remain anonymous for safety reasons. Of course they will. And leaked information about an impromptu town hall that Jeremy Boring, CEO of Daily Wire, hosted on the day of Candace's firing. Jeremy Boring sent an email to all Daily Wire employees inviting them to an impromptu town hall in Candace Owens' studio. The town hall was led by Boring, with Andrew Clavin repeating many of the corporate talking points on his show the next day. The 4 employees told me that the town hall attempted to brainwash the employees present into believing that Candace was, in fact, an anti-Semite. They view it as an extreme form of damage control to scare and prevent employees from speaking out against Owens' firing later that day. The feeling was that they didn't want her gone, they just want everyone to hate her like Ben does. It was straight up propaganda. These subjects were brought up during the town hall. Candace's repeated use of Christ is King was deemed anti-Semitic, dating back to November when a meeting with Ben Shapiro was leaked. In the meeting, he badmouthed Owens for not being overtly pro-Israel. A clip of Nick Fuentes chanting Christ is King was played. This expression made Shapiro particularly angry, and since Fuentes is deemed an anti-Semite by the ADL, it was used to suggest Owens was an anti-Semite by association. A clip from Owens on Fresh and Fit was played where a ka-ching sound effect was heard in the background. This was an attempt to associate her with the stereotype that Jews love money. The employees also told me that Ben had been bitter in his attitude towards Candace, as her show was outperforming Ben's and was much better received. Some employees are planning a lawsuit against the Daily Wire, feeling intimidated and threatened by the meeting, and also because of what they believe is an attack on Christianity at the company. They feel the phrase Christ is King was seriously deemed to be anti-Semitic by Boring, Clavin, and Ben. It was Candace's repeated use of the phrase, along with her not being overtly pro-Israel, that ultimately led to her firing. After hearing this, no Christian or anyone with genuine morals should have a Daily Wire subscription or support the company in any way, shape, or form. It is clear that Christianity is under attack at the Daily Wire, with Christian employees feeling so intimidated that they are actually consulting their lawyers. This is totally unacceptable and must not be supported. Candace Owens did nothing wrong. Alright, so obviously this is the narrative that they're trying to go and put out, and once more, this guy, as you can see, is like, here's a bunch of people that allegedly work at the company saying this, and no. I can tell you for a fact that this sort of thing is not going to be what got Candace Owens fired. What is going to have gone Candace Owens can is the fact that she went and repeated a ton of really weird conspiracy theories in a company that wants to go and basically appeal to mainstream conservatives. So again, like the Macron's wife is transgendered. The Jews go and control all of Hollywood and use it to go and cover up a bunch of crimes. So uh, Kanye West is fine for saying anti-Jewish things. Remember, this whole Christ is King thing, this is not going to be what got her canceled. What's going to have gotten her canceled is the fact that she had this repeated behavior of, basically attacking Jews at the company or going way out on the limb, and it's going to be way more than what an organization like the Daily Wire would be comfortable with. So, but this of course wants to go and lean into the whole, Christianity is being persecuted even by the conservatives. Oh, look at how the mainstream conservatives in the US are going and persecuting the Christians. Oh, look how much they don't care about the Christians. This is the angle that's being taken here, and this is what they're trying to go and promote. All right, so the issue is that this is also, of course, being taken up by people outside just this Twitter sphere, but it's basically being repeated by all of these alternative influencers. Of course, Nick Fuentes has an entire propaganda team on this, so you'll see a bunch of gripers out there going and promoting this stuff. And it's all for the purpose of driving a wedge between conservatives in the U.S. and conservative Jews in the U.S. So that should just be understood, and of course with the wider geopolitical aim of isolating Israel, and then they're able to go and use a whole bunch of other propaganda that of course has been infused into all of these conspiracy theorist guys, like, the Zionists are occupying all of your governments, the Zionists are running everything, the Jews are running everything, all of this. So this is ultimately the point and what they want to go and put out with this. It's just one part in a very large conspiracy, I suppose you could say, of going and driving a wedge between the West and its allies. All right, so now with censored men, once more, propagandists who research is used to go and basically discredit the West and then go and promote Russia. All right, so then we have Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus, who of course is a Russian propagandist in Denmark. At Real Candace, fired for saying Christ is King. All Christians should boycott Daily Wire now. All right. Yep, and see we have gripers immediately in the comments there trying to go and promote this. And then you're going to also have, of course, a bunch of Muslim guys there hopping on this. Yep, and this is what you're going to see all throughout this, which is like, so what they're basically trying to do is go and ultimately build a relationship between conservatives and the Muslims. So, which I know that sounds very odd to you who have been following the geopolitics for the last 20 years, ever since the Afghanistan and Iraq invasions. But this is essentially what this faction is trying to go and build up, where it's like, you're going to be aligned with Muslims. And there's no actually better person to go and show you how this is working than a guy named Sneeko. So first up, Sneeko, as you can see here, reverted to Islam from Catholicism. So he converted to Islam. He still hangs out in a bunch of these sort of alternative circles. Convert to Islam. Andrew Tate, also, again, a convert to Islam, who also went and hopped onto this thing. He probably actually even has a new comment on this. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's get into his actual account here. All right. Does he have a comment here on this? Because of course he had one last time, but not seeing one here. Yep. Okay. But anyways, so Tate had hopped on, of course, this last time. Here we have Sneeko. Let's just, so Candace Owens was fired for saying Christ is King. So again, promoting this idea that, Candace Owens was fired simply for being a Christian and being overt about being Christian. No. Again, this is not how that's going to work. Yeah, and they're just going to go say, they hate Christ and all this sort of thing. All right, so here's Nico's reaction to this whole matter.
Candace Owens got banned from Daily Wire for saying Christ is king. The documents are coming out right now. Apparently, Christ is king is a racist, anti-Semitic term. That's why I said this. There's all this criticism right now. We can watch some of those videos, and I don't want to catch up with all the Candace Owens drama. But Christ is king is officially, based on the ADL and Bot Shapiro, they're calling it an anti-Semitic term. That's why I say it. I don't say it because I literally believe Christ is the king of all kings. Of course, he is a king, and he's going to come back, and he's going to save he's the Messiah. He's going to come back and save us. But he's not the king of all kings, but I like saying that because they think it's a term that triggers them. So if we can get these slogans that attack and fight back, just like they use Black Lives Matter to go and program the bots, we can use a term like Christ is king to trigger the people that control the world. Candace Owens got banned.
So you see there again, people that control the world. We're in this just to go and trigger them. Again, I think this guy has some sort of relationship with like that whole Nick Fuentes crowd. Yeah. So that's basically what you're looking at there. Right, and we have Alex Barnacote. Candace Owens was fired for saying Christ is king, fired from a Christian platform. It's clear whose side the Daily Wire is on. No. Daily Wire never claimed to be a Christian platform. Again, two owners are Jewish. It's a conservative American platform that involves Christianity typically. It doesn't have to inherently involve Christianity. There are just different people that are generally consider themselves as conservatives in the U.S. So you have some conservative Jews, so like the Orthodox Jews like Ben Shapiro. You have the Christians. Then you have also some other groups like sometimes Hindus and that sort of thing that can go and consider themselves to be conservatives. But yeah, so getting promoted there. We have Mia. According to the conservative media, you can mock the crucifixion of Jesus, purchase babies if you're a same-sex couple, dress up like a woman if you're a man, but if you refuse to worship Israel or stop saying that Christ is king, you'll get fired and blacklisted, which is exactly how leftists weaponize the word racism when they try to cancel people. So if someone is doing this and they happen to be Jewish, it doesn't make us anti-Semites. It just makes them a leftist Jew. Alright. So, again, once more, you're going to see this too here. So it's like, so in mainstream conservative circles, okay, so, generally they've toned down the rhetoric on homosexuality in the recent years. Once more, that thing they're talking about purchasing babies, it's not correct. It's, there were two gay conservative influencers, Ruben and I think it's another guy, but basically they had, is their biological kids, it's just because they're gay, they went and had a surrogate go and carry them. So it's like, it is, their genetic material that's going into those kids. It's just, have a surrogate do it. So anyways, but yeah, so once more, it's like, it's purchasing babies. I mean, you'd go and argue about what you think about the whole issue of surrogacy and how it's used in that way, but once more, it's not exactly purchasing them. That's just going and saying, oh, we want to go and have a kid, so we're going to go and have it via a in vitro fertilization. All right, dress up like a woman if you're a man. I'm not entirely sure what they're getting at there. That's been a by the way, remember, their guy that they promote, Donald Trump, he made out with Rudy Giuliani when Giuliani was a drag. So don't tell me that you're this whole, we're so anti-drag and all that. No. You guys do that too. Just dumb stuff. It's actually pretty common in these weird conservative circles too, because they use it as a humiliation ritual. Yeah, that's a whole thing. Trust me, when you get to this hardcore religious stuff, it just gets really weird. Mock the crucifixion of Jesus. Once more, did they ever do that? Honestly, have you ever seen Shapiro actually go and do that? No. Shapiro is quite frank that he's an Orthodox Jew, okay? But he's not going to go and cut the bridges with conservatives like this. This is not how he's going to go and work. Nope. Yeah. Alright, and then finally we have the wheel fly here. So, report, Daily Wire fired Candace Owens for saying Christ is king. again, so it's like anonymous reports, which, anyone could go say they're, oh, we're so anonymous, we're going and we totally work at the yeah. Thank you, Ed D. Thank you, excellent. Only has 55 views. Again, this is the problem with our truth. It's like the guy who tells the truth, like, so little views compared to these sorts of major propagandists. Lol, your source is a propaganda bill. Excellent. Thank you, D. You're a good person. Yep. Yep. Thank you for being a good person, D. Yep. So, anyways, that's this whole issue here. I do tell you what. Boom. It's your little reward, D, for telling the truth. All right. So here's just some other influencers. They're not going at being this whole, Candace Owens was fired for saying Christ is king, but they're going and running with this thing, which I think it means that they're somehow affiliated with it. Well, I know a few of these guys are propagandists, like Jake Shields up here. So we have Lauren Chen, who of course is like one of those. She's basically trotted out because she is a pretty girl and she's half Asian, so she kind of gets trotted out as like, well, look at what this minority girl goes and believes about conservatism. Although to her credit, she did do the whole conservative thing and go for the bad blonde dye job, so I guess that's a point in her favor. Alright, if it wasn't clear enough already, Christ is king. Spreading his word isn't anti-Semitic. It's about sharing love and faith with everyone, Jewish folks included. It's what we are commanded to do as Christians. Alright? Yep. And, Floridad once more goes and clarifies, if that's what you intend it to mean, it's also used as a cudgel by people that intend to win a political argument. Both are happening here. Yep. So that's accurate. And then, we have gripers immediately in the comments trying to go and push this whole narrative. Laura Chen would be considered to be a major conservative influencer, so she's got 550,000 followers. Yep, alright. And then we have Jake Shields, who of course is, he's already anti-Semitic, he hates Israel, all that sort of thing. Oh, great, thank you. I'm going to have to go and blackbar this whole section. Alright. Very good. Jake Shields. Muslims love and adore Jesus Christ. Muslims don't believe in Jesus and hell boiling in human excrement. Muslims don't get offended when you say Christ is king. Maybe Muslims and Christians aren't actually enemies. So that's 410,000 views. So once more, that's what he's promoting. So go and believe in, go and unify with the Muslims. We'll go and use them to go and overthrow the typical conservatives in the U.S. and then we're in the Western world in general. And then we're going to go and all have this whole kumbaya where we're in this fourth monotheistic paradigm where we're all in for the absolutist governments, and that's going to be what's our unifying principle. So there you go. Yep. I just want to make, the 20th, like the entire point of the Western Jewish relationship in the latter part of the 20th century is it's like, okay, maybe Jews aren't enemies of Western civilization. Have you ever considered that? But no, these guys just want to go and push this whole, let's all get together with the Muslims and hate on the Jews, basically. I've also seen this at a whole bunch of other places, so, yeah. And then just a griper, for an example, Nick Fuentes breaks down Candace Owens' feud with Ben Shapiro. The central contradiction is that this is a nation that worships Jesus, but is led by an elite that rejects Jesus. So I believe I covered that yesterday. Huh. Interesting. Look at the date there. November 16th, 2023. Okay. Yeah, so apparently this has been going on for quite some time. That's very interesting. Can you see the date? Very interesting. I must have so I must have reposted this. That's what must have happened. Okay. Very interesting. Alright. Oren McTinter. In the last 6 months, Christians have been told by conservative influencers that Christ is king is a satanic dog whistle. Knocking down a satanic altar in a state capital is evil. wanting a Christian nation violates the Constitution. All right, so no, that is not. Once more, that is not what he said. That is not what the person on the Daily Wire show said. Go and listen to that again. He did not say it was a satanic dog whistle. He said that if you go and use Christ as King a certain way, you're going and reading scripture like Satan. That is what he said. Knocking down a satanic altar in the state capital is evil. So once more, that's the whole... so there's this parody group in the U.S. called the Church of Satan or something, and then so whenever they see religious symbols appearing inside of state capitol buildings, they go and put stuff like Baphomet's statue was in there, and it's basically a liberal group that, well, not liberal, I should say, a leftist group that's going and parodying Christians wanting to go and put symbols of their religion inside of state capitol buildings. So that's understanding what it is, and I believe somebody went and destroyed one of those statues, and then some conservatives were going and praising that action. A lot of conservatives were like, not a legal thing to go and do, so maybe don't go and do that. And then they're going and say, not going and breaking Baphomet statues is evil, all that. Baphomet, that's the name of the deity that they went, the goat-headed guy. All right. And then wanting a Christian nation violates the Constitution. Yes. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. All right. Yep. So you're not supposed to have America isn't designed as a religious nation. You can talk about how the founding fathers were inspired by certain Christian principles. Okay, fine. Some were, some weren't. Some were inspired by Enlightenment rationalism. I've already pointed out that it is the Unitarian form of Christianity that most of them were inspired by, so that is the non-dogmatic form of Christianity. All right. Yeah, that's just a brief update. So as we've seen, these people are going and using this little whole Candace Owens situation to go and try and force a split between conservative Jews in the USA and conservative Christians. And they're doing that by knocking down one of the Daily Wire, which is one of the major organizations that speaks on the behalf of conservative Jews and has an outreach to conservative Christians. That's essentially what they're trying to have happen. And of course, it's also because the Daily Wire is starting to go and put out major conservative media productions, and you can say that they're a variable quality and that you're likely right, but that goes and sort of stamps on these people's turf where they're trying to go and be this whole alternative right-wing media. So that's all just to say that is what's happening, and I'm going to go and leave it there. This has been Katarian Lightning. Have a good one.